we made history with the election of President Barack Obama. He called us to service as there remains much work to do to end unemployment, poverty, and crime in our communities. There's so many books on how we can accomplish this, but this year everyone's raving about this summer's hottest new book, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America by Chicago's own Emmanuel Barbie. A graduate of Northeastern Illinois University, Barbie addresses key ways we back our families and communities. But unlike so many other books on this topic, Barbie captivates his reader, presenting solutions through a riveting life story. It's entertaining, it's different, it's exciting. The perfect book club selection. Don't be left out. Get your copy of The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America. Order today at Amazon.com.
Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos online talk show. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbie. This evening I have a guest speaker, one of my group members from E-Block, which is my international friends list on Facebook. His name is Pastor Julius Peter Obua, and he's coming from Uganda, and he's going to be sharing a word of the Lord, whichever God lays on his heart to share with the listeners this evening. And again, I'm trying to use my show as a platform for everyone that's on my friends list that's doing positive things, especially my Christian friends. Because once God blessed me to get my Christian business up and running in the city of Chicago, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give people that's doing positive things an opportunity. I'm not looking necessarily for celebrities. I'm looking for ordinary, law-abiding citizens that's doing great things and that needs to be heard. And we need to patronize people that's doing good things. Without any further delay, here is my guest speaker for this evening. Hello?
Yes, Manuel?
All right, you're on the air.
Yes, I can hear. Yeah, this is Pastor Julius Peter Obua from Uganda. First of all, I wanted so much to appreciate what the Lord is doing, and for Emmanuel as well to host me at this particular moment. I'm really so grateful. He's a freedom fighter, which is trying so much to make sure that there is freedom between.
Hello?
This is Pastor Julius Peter Obua from Uganda. And I want to thank the Lord so much for how God is using Emmanuel to reach out to each and everyone, especially across the country, in Europe and in Africa as well. Emmanuel, thank you so much for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
May the good Lord bless you so much. To me, I take you as a freedom fighter because I know that what you're doing, you're not doing it for your own sake, but you're doing it for the people of God. And when we look around, you found that all the challenges, it is not only in Europe, even in Africa as well. There are so many challenges and so many problems. But someone to take a radical decision like the way you're doing, it is rare to get such people. So I'm really very grateful for what you're really doing. And I pray that the Lord may continue to open the door and to bless your life.
Amen.
Yes, I am Pastor Julius Peter Obua. The ministry is called Light of the World Evangelical Church. Yes, we are here based in Uganda. But maybe when Emmanuel asks me next time, that is when I will be ready at least to share the word. But today I wanted just to talk briefly about the background concerning the ministry as well, and especially on things that is happening in Africa.
Amen.
The challenges that people are having in Africa, like I said before that Emmanuel, God is using him to, as a freedom fighter, to bring the freedom to the people of Africa. It is also what we are also trying to work hard to make sure that we also bring freedom to the people in Africa as well. Because, for example, when you look at Uganda, Uganda has been in a war for over 25 years, where many people also have become homeless. Other people are still living even in the camp up to today. People are refugees. And when you look at near the border, like in Congo, we have also refugees that have come from Congo that are also living in Uganda. We have some group of people that is coming from Sudan because of the challenges that they have in Sudan, and they are also living in Uganda. So it is a mix-up, and you found that really people, there are so many people who really need a lot of help. And I particular, God has been so faithful. And in the ministry that we have, we are helping the people that have been really, we have set so many churches, branches, which is in the refugees camp. And we have also the children that we are taking care of. By the grace of God, God has given us the people that we are looking after. But it is not easy, because sometimes you found that really it is hard. These are the people who have gone so much trauma. They have been through the war has affected them. Others, they have lost their parents, they have lost their mother, they have lost their father, and they have no relatives, total orphans. So what we do is trying to fight the freedom for them, because you found that when there are a lot of challenges in their life, you found that in any country where there is a lot of war, children always intend to keep on the street as the street children. And the challenges that is on the street there, it is really not easy. So what we normally do is to pick them from the street, those who are in need, and then the total orphans, to make sure that we give them shelter, to make sure that we give them food, to make sure that we provide whatever that we can in order to help them. And when I compare with what Emmanuel is doing, that is exactly what Emmanuel is also doing, to fight for the freedom of the black people, especially in Chicago, which really God is using him to reach out each and everyone so that there may be freedom. I wanted at least to appeal to each and everyone. The challenges that we have today is that sometimes you found that really, apart from being war, when we read in the Bible says in the book of John chapter 3, verse 16, that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. But what that verse is meaning is about love. One of the reasons why today people are having so many challenges is because many people, they are lacking love. Even the parents are lacking love for their children. People, you found that they are full of themselves. They don't love their children the way they are supposed to love. And you found that really challenges come when there is no love. Where there is no love, there is always challenge. You found that there is always a problem. So I am appealing, because I wanted at least, though my testimony that I would really give is over an hour, but I will just go briefly. The reason today I have picked all these vision of keeping the street children. I was one time also a street kid. Because my mom and my dad decided to divorce my mother for 10 years. And in these 10 years, I was also on the street. I am the firstborn in our family, and we are 9 children. But when my mom and my dad separated, we went through a lot of challenges and a lot of problems. What am I trying to say? I am trying to say that when there is no love in a family, it will bring a misunderstanding between even the children and the parents as well. So what happened to me is that I decided that I am going to join the army. By the way, I'm an army man. So, and I joined the army purposely. My aim was not to go and fight the rebels, but I went purposely just to join the army so that I can come back and destroy my father and my stepmother. After when I did all my training in many places, I succeeded and I became an army man. I remember one day I came back home because I still had that plan that I was not loved, just to kill my dad. That was in 1995. I remember very well, after getting lost from home for about 4 years, nobody knew where I was, and they thought that maybe I was already dead, but I was in the army. So I came back in the night, ready to go and kill my father and then my stepmom. Very early in the morning, I took my gun. I went to their house in the morning, and I found them. When I entered in the house, I cocked my gun, and I wanted at least to shoot all of them. But that is the time when I heard the voice from another room coming up and saying, "Please don't kill your father." I asked and I said, "Who is in their next room?" He told me there is nobody in the next room. I went and checked everywhere, even under the bed. There was no one. But I realized that it was God speaking to me.
Amen.
That was the time that I heard the voice of God very loud. And I asked my dad and I said, "Are you ready to go back home? You led me into this. You are the one making me to put on uniform. You are the one making me to kill people right now. You are the one making me to do all this. Because if you were not to enter to love this woman and then left my mom, I would have been in a position to at least to take care of you. You would be in a position to take care of my sibling and my mom. But because you have refused to take the responsibility, you made me to join the army. But now I have come today, I am going to separate you. I'm not going to call the police. I'm not going to call anyone, but I'm going to separate you right now and right here. I told the woman, "Do you still love your life?" She said, "Yes, I love my life." I told her, "If you love your life, from today onwards, this 10 years is already enough. I want you to leave my dad, and I want you to allow him to go back." She went in and picked everything that belonged to my father and brought to him, and my father left her house and he decided to go back home. But when he went back home, even my mom never wanted wanted him back home because he was already given up marriage. I told my mom, no, it is our dad. Allow him to come back home. That was the time when the peace began to reign. But the challenge came in because we were not having so much attachment for the last 10 years. It was really very hard even for me at least to be at home. And by then I was already in the force. I went back and I told my mom,
we just had a drop call, so we're back on the air. All right.
yeah, we have those challenges, and the network of Africa is not like Europe, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so what happened is when my father left, he decided to come back home. But there was no love because for the last 10 years we were actually not together. And I went back to the army to continue with my service. That is when the Lord began speaking to me. I did not kill them like I planned. And immediately when I hear that voice and say, do not kill your father, I became so furious and I checked everywhere and there was no one. That is when I knew that the Lord was speaking to me. And what I did, I told him, I'm going back to my work. But one thing that I wanted at least to tell you is, this relationship must stop. Come back and be a responsible person and take care of your family. My sibling, because now, you know, when you are in the army, you are like unhinged, whereby anytime anything can happen. So because all this time that I was the one who have been helping my sibling, without my dad, I told him, I want you to be home and then begin to take care of the children because I may lose my life from there and my mom will be without anybody. And we agree, my dad agreed that he will not go back to the other woman. He was trying many ways to get out of her life, but there was no way out. So, in other words, the Lord used me and made me to bring the reconciliation between my family. But that voice did not stop from there. When I went back, the Lord began speaking to me and say, look, I have called you and I want you to be a born-again Christian. I was one of a soldier that accepted Jesus with all his life because of what I have really gone through. So what am I trying to say? I am just giving you a brief testimony. The challenges that we are having why we have so many problems, why there are so many problems even on the streets, why there are so many problems even in families. When you look at it properly, you will find that the challenges are coming out because of the broken relationship, which is either is in the family, or the family because they are family where a parent does not even love the children. The parents, they have left the children to do their own thing. Maybe the family which has already separated. So because the children wanted to look for survival, you found that they entered joining a wrong group. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, that he who walks with a wise man grow wise, but the companions of fools will be destroyed. It means that when you join the group of people which are bad, it is obviously you will also become bad. But when you walk with the people who are wise, then you will be wise. That is what it means. So many people, sometimes they grow up from a family where a family which is right, but because of joining a bad group, then you found that they begin to do what is really not right before men and before God as well. So what I'm trying to appeal to you is, you parents who are listening to me right now, to love your children, to love your family, to respect them, and to make sure that you support them where necessary. So that at least in Africa, even in Europe, we can be able to stop all this violence which is on the street. Because by showing them love and respect and affection, it will make them also to have a mind change, which would make them actually to begin doing what is right. So it is what we are also trying even so much to work upon in Uganda. Immediately when I went back and the Lord called me, I got saved in 1997 on the 11th of November. That was in 1997. And for about 2 years, I was actually on the street. And the Lord spoke to me and said, I want you to begin taking care of my children. How I started, that is how I started the ministry. I used to go to the street, taking all these children who does not have food, who does not have the shelter. Then I take them home. My wife cooks for them. I give them food. After when they eat, I send them back to the street. But I realized that it was really not enough. I should really make it at least a dream. Because in everything, we must have a vision and we must have a dream and determination. I said to myself, now, what I'm going to do, I will make this dream to come to pass. So I started with a few children, who was about 27 children actually. They could come and then they eat food and I sent them back to the street. But time came, I went and got an apartment for them. I decided to rent and I got a cook. I remember last week I posted even some of my pictures even to Emmanuel post, and I was actually myself, I was serving them the food. I was showing them love, you know. So I started ministering even to some other churches, talking to some other churches, where we could go and collect like clothes. We could go and collect shoes. And I come and then I give it to them so that they can at least have something to put on. In the photograph that I sent last week, I think all those things are there. But it was a call that God started calling me after being 2 years also on the street and seeing what the problem. When you see on the street, there are so many challenges and so many problems. Because if you don't steal, then it means that you cannot eat. So you found that even all those children who are actually on the street, when you look at it properly, not all of them who are on the street wanted to be on the street. But the circumstance and the problem that they are facing or what they are going through is the one that is forcing them to be on the street. And even if they're on the street, their prayer is always, I wish God could give me a home. I wish God could open a door for me. I wish God could bless me with someone that can take care of me. So you found that they are actually looking and hoping that one day, one time, the Lord will put a smile on their face by bringing someone to adopt them either to pick them from the street so that they can be in a position at least to have where to live. But the majority, you found that because now they are used to do a lot of evil, they find it a little bit challenging to cooperate with the people who are actually the normal children, because there you found that a person begin adopting drinking. You found that a person is under drugs, and such kind of a person needs a lot of counseling and a lot of affections and a lot of love to bring that person back to a normal life. So even in Uganda here, it is what we are trying to at least to do, because many children has gone through a lot of trauma. Like I said before, others they have already lost their parents, and right now they are homeless, they are total orphans. They don't have anything, they don't have clothes, they don't have food. They wanted so much when they look at other children going back to school or studying hard, and for them they found there is no hope. So you found that really all those kind of things, all those kind of challenges are there. Even in a refugee camp where many people are living, you found like in one house can be like about 10 or 20 people in one place, because it's just like a small cell whereby they just keep themselves because of rain and because of sunshine. And you found that all those challenges are there. So we are actually appealing to the whole world, the entire world. Let us practice the love of Christ, and we begin doing what is right. Without love, we cannot be able to manage this world. It is love that will make us to help even the people who are helpless. It is the love that will help us to bless even the people who have already lost hope. It is because of love that will make us to win even more soul, even to the people who have already lost even hope in God. Because when we put God number one and we love people, that's why the Bible says very clear that love your enemy, love your enemy, love your neighbors as love yourself. Because if Christ was not to die for us, then even today salvation was not going to be there. We wouldn't be even born again Christian. But because Christ sat in a meeting in heaven with the Father Almighty and said, "Let me go." I know the Father told him, "You are going there, they will kill you." He said, let me go and die for them." And he came on earth and he died for us. That's why today we have got salvation, and salvation is for free.
Amen.
Which is changing the life of many people. So when I see what Emmanuel is actually doing, I have marveled, because he's not doing his own thing. I wanted to encourage all the listeners there. It is that you have not been able to reach to places where there are challenges, and where there are wars, and where there are very many street children, where there are so many needy people. Then you would really take this vision properly, and you would really understand what our brother Emmanuel is trying to fight for. It is for the freedom of the people. In Africa, most of the countries has gone through a lot of war. You remember what happened in Rwanda in 1994, the genocide?
Yes, I even talk about that. I even talk about that in my revised book.
Yes, many people, millions and millions of people died from Rwanda, and by then there was a lot of peace exist in Uganda. So most of the people, they cross over and they came to Uganda. Up to date, the Rwanda people are still even in Uganda. Then in 1994, 1995, 1996, you remember the serious war that took place during the Mobutu Seseko, which is in Congo. Many people lost their houses, lost parents. They lost their place in Congo. They also came back. They also came to Uganda. Then Uganda also recently, for the last 25 years ago, when the rebels started really attacking Uganda from the northern part of Uganda where I came from, all of us, we have lost our homes. We have lost our parents. We have lost children. We have lost relatives. So you found that many people live alone only in Europe, even in Africa. You remember the war that was in Liberia? There are so many that I can give you an example. You know?
And just a moment, Pastor, I do want to intervene and just say too, so you'll know that I'm paying attention to what's going on the African continent. The war over there in Darfur, that was pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Somalia. You know, with those the terrorist groups. And so I just want to say this too, that 26 years I've been reaching out to people here in my own city, these established black organizations, and, they're like, you can't tell us anything, but yet, since 2001, over 4,000 people in Chicago alone has been killed due to urban violence. Yeah. So that's how come I wrote my story. I'm not just trying to write a book. I didn't just try to write a book just to write a book. I wrote that book in order to recruit brave and smart people that's going to be on my team. Because I don't want just anybody that's just going to be on there just to be on there. I want qualified people that's going to help me carry out the vision that the Lord has called me to do and make Chicago a model first, so I can go ahead and go to other cities and also expand to, the African continent and 10 countries in Africa, including Uganda.
Yes. That is why I am actually encouraging everyone who is listening to you that what you are really doing is a vision from the Lord, because when you look at all that, you are connected to entire world. I was just giving you the example about the war in Africa as well. But since the Lord has called you in the part of Chicago, I know you have a dream to extend all those help and assistance even to the churches or the ministries who are across the country, which is in Africa. So I am encouraging the people who are listening to Emmanuel. He's doing a right thing. Like I said before, he's a freedom fighter who wanted to see freedom among the black people. So what I am appealing to you is, let us know Christ, because when you have Christ in you, there will be a change. It is salvation that will change our life completely. That's why when we are still in the world and then we accepted Christ in our life, the Lord always put a new spirit in us, which is the Holy Spirit. Anyone that is led by the Holy Spirit, you found that is not cannot do anything bad to a brother or to a sister, because it's led by the Spirit of God. And also to love one another, despise what, no matter what. There is no greater commandment in the Bible than the commandment of love. If we begin to love one another, then that war which we are really looking at right now, it will not even be there, because love will take over. And you will find that really, even what we used not to do, we are going to begin doing it, simply because God has given love within our heart. So I am so grateful for what is really taking place, and the opportunity that God has given me at least to speak to Emmanuel. It has been a long time. I wanted at least to talk to him, so that at least we can at least interact, and at least to tell the people about what is really happening. So it is our calling. What we are trying to fight hard is to make sure that really each and everyone is living in peace and harmony. It is one of the greatest things that I am doing right now, because like when we pick these children like from the street, these traumatized children, we bring them and then teaching them the word of God, the love of Christ, transforming them, making them at least to have a vision, to have a dream, to tell them this is not the hand of the Lord. God is still have a better plan for you. In future you will be a great man, because they have already lost hope because of the challenges that they're going through. And it is the same thing. Even you who are in Europe, you can ask well, help Emmanuel to fight all this war. I call it a holy war, because he's not using a gun, he's not killing anybody. You can really help him to fight that by at least really speaking to each and everyone and showing love, especially to our children that are in this generation. So, if all goes well, I believe that even in Uganda, changes are going to come, and we are going to have a better future. Because from the time when I started this ministry and helping the children, some of them today, you found that they have even gone to school, they have studied, and though they have refused even to go to school, they have studied. Right now they have gone, even others are already in university, and they are no longer the street kids like the way they used to be.
Oh, that's a blessing. Before I end this podcast, the question remains, if God has given me a solution to help improve our inner cities in America, as well as in the slums of Africa, why is it so hard for me to find qualified people in my city to join my management team? And again, I would say to my critics, it's not my fault that I'm unable to find qualified people to join my management team. People have free will. But I want black people to understand, or African Americans, that it takes a team to make a dream work. African Americans have been protesting and marching for equality and equal justice in the United States for 52 years, and still our people continue to chant, no justice, no peace. But those are just slogans. African Americans from the lower economic classes are suffering great harm from senseless violence, high unemployment, mass incarceration, police brutality, drug abuse, high illiteracy, inadequate health care, and failing schools as a result of institutionalized racism. And that's not going to stop because of protesting. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has given me a positive vision on creating an organization called the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. That's what I'm trying to start here in my city, where we will take the lead to through entrepreneurship to solve our problems. We have a spiritual component because this is a spiritual organization. I consider myself a Christian socialist, and for me, all that means is that I care about people's well-being. I'm not looking so much for a government to help bail us out of the predicament that we find ourselves faced with, but instead looking at qualified people that meet the qualifications that I'm looking for, so that way this organization can be successful and effective, and to recreate the Black Wall Street in our inner cities. That's how we gonna solve all these problems here in our cities. And that's basically all I'm trying to do. So my focus at this point right now, again, is on using my podcast as a platform to encourage my group members and people on my friends list to share their businesses, their ministries. I also want to spotlight people that's doing positive things in the community, people that got special talents and skills for them to come on this show. And also I'm asking all of my Christian friends to please pray that the Lord would open up these doors for me, because this is nothing but spiritual warfare at its best. 26 years I've been trying to get this organization up and running, and it's just, I can't stop just because I don't have my management team in place. I'm doing all that I can humanly possible to get my message out to the public. The only thing that's preventing me from starting my Christian organization is the lack of manpower in the capital. Again, that's why I've written my story. That's why I do these blog postings. That's why I'm holding this online talk show. I'm doing the best that I can within my power. So again, I encourage, my group members and people on my friends list to purchase my book, read my story for themselves, and pray that God would allow me to connect with qualified people. I'm looking for only 30 people within the United States that meets the qualifications that I'm looking for. Again, that is investors, business partners, Christian entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and philanthropists. I'm also looking for legitimate film directors, producers, actors, stage managers, grant writers, and fundraisers, technical directors, marketers, accountants, business administrators, social workers, financial planners, lawyers, real estate brokers, and insurance agents. Now, after they pass the criminal background checks, I will discuss compensation and incentives with them behind closed doors. My goal is for us to create both a nonprofit organization as well as a for-profit business on the same premises in order to make my Christian organization effective and successful for years to come. And I want to start it here in Chicago, so that way it could be a model for when we expand to other cities, 10 cities throughout the Midwest, and eventually 10 countries in Africa. That's my goal. Gurkai will be a cooperative governed by an advisory board. Rakai will be membership-based and operated for the mutual benefit of our members. Any earnings that we make will be returned to our members in the forms of lower prices and in order for us to improve our services. And our members come first. And we will be committed to providing trust and understandable information to our members, so that way everybody can be on the same page. So that's basically all I'm trying to do. It's not that difficult, but again, I'm looking at this as in the Bible about when God says in His Word about greater works, and I believe that this applies to what I'm trying to do with this business, because it's been 26 years. But I'm just doing the best that I can, and again, the book is just the beginning. I'm focusing on trying to get the business up and running, and